Welcome to Now You Know. Today we're unlocking the power of unit conversions, a skill for math, science, and everyday life. Let's dive in. So, the first thing about unit conversion, you need to understand what are the units and where are the conversion factors. Now, here I listed all of our conversion. I've listed some of our conversions. All right, we have from giga all the way here at the top down to pico, and some classes make you memorize them. For that, I gave you a mnemonic right up here, and the mnemonic is "Great mighty King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, messy, not perfect." So what this does is it makes you remember that great stands for G for giga, and the capital M is for mega, for the capital K is for kilo, capital H for hecto, D for deca, this B is for your base unit, this D is for deci, this C for centi, and for milli, so on and so on and so on. So this helps give you the order. From there, it's really simple to remember our conversion factors because they go up by 1 0, or they go by a tenth place until you get to kilo or milli. Then it grows by a factor of 1,000. So it's really easy to remember those once you get those rolling. I want to also highlight our base units here. A base unit can be anything, such as meters, liters, seconds, grams. I included some of the examples right there. Lumens, those are all valued base units. And what you do with that, say you are dealing with meters and you want gigameters, it look just like that. Or kilometers, just like so. All right, now let's dive into it. I want you to notice that these numbers are how many base units each is. So, for instance, say you have 1 gigameter. Okay, that is equal to 10 to the 9th meters. Okay, or say you have let's go over, and it doesn't mean you have 1 meter equals 10 to the 9th gigameters. No, that's not what that means at all. Or say you have 1 picogram. That means you have 10 to the negative 12th grams. It does not mean you have 1 gram equal 10 to the negative 12 picograms. These are saying completely different things. It's important to realize that it's saying this and not this. Okay, that will help you stay on track when it comes to all these. In this video, I'm also going to show you how to check your work. So let's jump straight into example 1. So example 1 is convert 5 meters to gigameters. So this is how we're going to do it. You have your 5 meters, and what you're going to do is you're going to cancel units. And I highly recommend that you keep units through all this because it makes it helpful at keeping track where you're at. So in this step, we're going to write 5 meters, and we're going to look for our gigameters. Where's our gigameters? Gigameters right here. And the conversion factor is 10 to the 9th meters for every 1 gigameter. It's not backwards like we went over. So you're going to write it just like this. You're going to put 10 to the 9th meters on the denominator and 1 gigameter in the numerator. And this is why you do that, because this unit and this unit cancel. And this is going to give you 5 times 10 to the negative 9th gigameters. Okay, so that's what you do. That's all you need to do to convert it. Okay, there's your answer right here. Okay, if you don't understand the scientific notation, then this is saying 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gigameters. That's what that number is right there. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit more. So you have 5 meters times our conversion factor. Our meters cancel right here, right? Because meters divided by meters is 1. So now you have 5 times 1 gigameter over 10 to the ninth. We're going to move this into the numerator. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video on that. You can go ahead and check that out. To do that, you change the sign of the exponent. And there's your answer right there. Now, let's check this, okay? And let's be really careful and understand how to check. So, we're going from meters to gigameters, okay? Meters to gigameters. And meters in this case is smaller than gigameters. Gigameters in this case is bigger, right? Just by looking at conversion, gigameters comes higher up this chart than meters. So when you do this, you're going to start off with 5, and you're going to go to 5 times 10 negative 9 gigameters. And this is how I figure out if you did it right. This is how a good check to understand if you did it correct, okay? 5, you're going to compare these two numbers right next to each other. The numbers, not numbers, not the units included, just the numbers. So in this case, 5 is bigger than 5 times 10 to the negative 9. So, and this makes sense because when you're going from a smaller unit, meters, to gigameters, which is bigger, your number is going to get smaller, okay? So, which is exactly what happened. You went from 5 to 5 times 10 to the negative 9. Your number, the value alone, the magnitude of that number got smaller. This does not, and I'm going to put this in red, this is not saying 5 meters is greater than 5 times 10 negative 9 gigameters. Okay, it's not saying that one bit. So don't even think that way, all right? So let's move on to another question. Let me move this over because we already did that one. And this one is convert 20 kilograms to megagrams. We're also going to check this. So let's go ahead and jump into that conversion. Let's use a different color. Okay. You're going to take your 20 kilograms. You're going to write it first. And sometimes you have to do this in multiple steps. And the easiest way to do these is go from whatever you're converting from. Whenever you're not converting from a base unit up or base unit down, you're going from, in this case, kilograms to milligrams. The easiest way to do this is convert kilograms to base units and then base units to milligrams. So let me show you. So in this case, you're going to go 20 kilograms times 1 kilogram, and 1 kilogram is equal to 10 to the 3 grams. Right? So let's look at this. Our kilograms cancel out. So you know you did that right. Now you're at grams. Okay? And we're going to get rid of grams. So 10 to the negative 30 grams equals 1 milligram. And we're going to make sure we do that right by our units canceling. Our grams cancel in this instance. And we can go ahead and bring this whole thing up by changing the sign of our exponent. And when you do that, this is what you get. You get 20 times 10 to the 3 times 10 to the 3 milligrams. So ultimately what you get is 20 times 10 to the 6th milligrams. And that's your answer. So let's go ahead and check this. Okay, you're going from kilograms to milligrams. So you're going from bigger to smaller. And so the number should be bigger than what you started with, right? So let's see. Number should be bigger. So let's look at that. You got 20 and you have 20 times 10 to the 6th, which is indeed bigger. Right? So the fact that you went from bigger to smaller and your number got bigger, that checks out. So whenever you're doing this, I want you to look at what I did here. Okay. I wrote kilograms to milligrams. You went from bigger to smaller. And this is how you're going to make sure you check. Whatever's first is what you should get when you do this analysis down here. So kilograms to milligrams, you went from bigger to smaller. That means the number you end with needs to be bigger than the number you started with. And that's how you check it. That's a good way to check it and make sure you're on the right path and it checks out. So make sure you always include your units and make sure you do this a little check to make sure you got the right thing. So let's do another example. Let's convert 0.75 milliliters to centiliters. So how are we going to do this? This is 0.75 megaliters to centiliters. Now this is another one of those where you have to go 2 steps to go from megaliters to base units, in this case liters, and then liters to centiliters. So let's go ahead and do that. So in order for the units to cancel out, it has to be on the denominator. So 1 megaliter, which we look back at our conversion chart, which was the first thing, is 10 to the 6th liters. Let me make that look more like a L. And then from liters to centiliters, we got centiliters up here, and we want our liters to cancel out. That's 10 to the negative 2 liters equals 1 centiliter. Okay? And ultimately, what you get is 75 times 10 to the 6 centiliters. So let's look at this. Let's see if that's what we get. Megaliters cancel out. Liters, the liters cancel out, so you get the right units. You can take these and put them, you can take the 10 to the negative 2, put it in the numerator by changing the sign of the exponent. So that's 10 to the, that's 10 squared. And in this case, it checks out, right? What happened was this 10 squared moved this exponent, moved this decimal, sorry. So 75 times 10 to the 6th. And then you just bring in your units, which is exactly what happened to get that answer. So let's go ahead and let's check it. You're going from megaliters to centiliters. So you're going from bigger to smaller. So your numbers should get bigger than what you started with. So let's see. You started with 0.75 and you ended with 75 times 10 to the 6th, which checks out. Your number, what you end with, is bigger. So that's a valid check. You did it right. Let's do another one. Convert 10 times 10 to the 5 seconds to hectoseconds. Well, you already have a base unit, so you can go ahead and just do a one-step conversion, okay? 1 hecoseconds equals to 10 squared seconds. So let's cancel out our units. So you end with the right units, so there's a check there. And let's just go ahead and do this math. And you move this to the numerator by changing the sign. And when you move that to the numerator and change the sign, you get a final answer of 10 times 10 to the third hectoseconds. And there's your final answer. So let's check it. You're going from seconds to hectoseconds. You're going from small to big. So your number should get smaller. So let's see. 10 times 10 to the fifth and 10 times 10 to the third. Well, this is bigger, right? 10 times 10 to the fifth is bigger than 10 times 10 to the third, so it does get smaller. 10 times 10 to the third is smaller than what we started with. So it checks out. Let's do 2 more. Let's convert 10 milligrams to grams. This is another one step as you're going straight to a base unit. So let's see. 10 times 10 to the negative 3 grams equals 1 milligrams. Let's go ahead and cancel out the units of the milligrams, which works. You end with grams, which is what you want. And so our final answer is 10 times 10 to the negative 3 grams. Let's go ahead and box that. And let's check it. You're going from milligrams to grams. You're going from small to big. So your final answer should be smaller than what you started with. And let's look, you started with 10 and you went to 10 times 10 to the negative 3, which is smaller. So it does check out. Let's do it one last time. Convert 25 micrometers to picometers. This one you have to go 2 steps. You got to go from micrometers to meters and then from meters back to picometers. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's make sure our units cancel out. We have 1 micrometer equals to 10 to the negative 6 meters. And let's go from meters to picometers. So we have 10 to the negative 12th meters equals 1 picometer. So let's make sure our units all cancel out properly. Your micrometers cancel out, your meters cancel out. You're left with picometers, which is what you want. And when you're all said and done, you'll end with 25 times 10 to the 6th. 10 to the power of 6 picometers. Here's your final answer. Let's discuss how that happened. What you do is you move these up to the numerator. You do that by changing the power from negative to positive. And then you're just adding the powers on these 10. So you're adding this number plus this number. That leaves you with 6. So that's how you figure that out. Let's go ahead and check it. Let's do a real quick check. You're going from bigger, because a micrometer is bigger than a picometer, to small. Let's go bigger to smaller. So your numbers should get bigger. Well, let's see. You're going from 25 to 25 times 10 to the 6th power. And it checks out. Your numbers get bigger. So I want you to try convert 45 picoliters to kiloliters? Please leave your answer in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more Now You Know lessons. P.S. As always, check out the extra resources in the comments, including the extra practice and the answer key. Have a nice day.